Welcome back, everybody. I am the Red Sun, and I'm rising up for one day. And holy shit, there's a lot of stuff going on, but I'm going to talk about random NSFW stuff because I'm sick and tired of hearing about crazy shit, and it's not really affecting me all that much. That being said, and let's bring it back to another episode of NSFW Artist Appreciation. Now, I know my last video isn't exactly my last video on this didn't really get a ton of views, and I don't give a shit because I'm not in this for the views. On that note, there is one video I made a while ago. I uploaded it. My brother was the one who actually. Uh, I write the script for the motherfucker, and then he gets to read it out, and then suddenly he's the one who takes control of it. All of it, so it's his video apparently. That being said, it has substantially more views than like all my other all my other ones, all of his other ones. It's it's unnerving. Like it's strange. Like yeah, I watched I watched the video it was made on. Goddamn, it's good. But like Jesus Christ. Like compared to like it's not the best hentai out there. But I digress. What this video is really about is a little appreciation for an artist that I have come to literally read everything they've ever made, and I'm still following their newly updated series as it comes out because I really love that. That being said, my brother has actually done a video on this a little bit earlier, or talking about the artist Incase. Now, I personally started finding his work on a website called 8muse, which I've talked about in a different video. It started out as 8muse.com, but it then got updated a little bit ago to 8muse.io, and it's much less user-friendly on the computer. And I tried. It works better on the phone, but it's not nearly as simple to use as like Luscious.net, which is where I have been following most of their work since. That being said, one of the things I'd like to praise about the artists themselves is that the way that the characters look is very realistic in certain parts, but characters that need to be that don't necessarily feel the need for exaggeration aren't driven to like absurdity. Here's the thing that I will admit that I do find appealing in a lot of artists like this is that some artists will draw, let's say, typical blonde-haired bimbo sort of looking character. They'll have like these insane proportions where their hips will be like this big, or they'll go down to a ballooning ass, and then thighs that are just as thick. And then they'll go up to boobs that are unnecessary, like they're 3 times the size of their head. And their hair will be, for some reason, insanely long. And it's not attractive at all. And then they'll show the dudes, and the dudes will be just incredibly ripped from head to toe. They'll have like that weird Arnold Schwarzenegger haircut. That he had in like all of his early movies, and it doesn't look good. It's just exaggerated proportions. Now, I myself am not opposed to big boobs or that of muscles, but muscles I feel like look better on women, and big boobs need to have proportion sizing. You don't just throw something in there and then just see how the scales will eventually work out and then think it's going to be sexy. It's not as good as you think. Now, what this artist does is that a lot of the way that it's focused is characters will have realistic proportions to overly sized certain things. There's a lot of variety that switches in between these characters. That being said, one of their most one of their longest and my personal favorite that they've done is a web series that's currently being made called Alfie, which my brother has made a video about because I begged and pleaded him to do it, and he got off his lazy ass and actually did it. Yeah, I know you're fucking there. Go back to playing Minecraft, dickhead. Now, what happens in the series is it's over 900 pages so far, and I don't see it stopping anytime soon, so there's a good chance whatever info is going to be dated by the time people actually watch this, and it gets, I don't know, however big it should be. But I'm not going to get into that. Just let you know, there's characters that are based on fantasy sizes of different things. Like, there's one race that a certain character is who is incredibly slim, and a lot of their people are like that, the men and women included. The women have small breast sizes, and the men are very compact in the way that, like, even dick sizes. There's not like you pull it out and it's the size of your arm. You pull it out and it's like thin. Thin, but like elongated, because the characters themselves are a good foot and a half taller than normal humans. Which is good that I can see like the proportions working out for those types of characters, and it's really nice the way that they're not just like throwing huge tits on a character that clearly doesn't need it, or clearly can't function with it. And a lot of what this artist does is there's coloring that matches the tone for what's going on. There's one scene that lasts for a good bit that was more recent than I'd like to say, but it's probably the scene that I've gone over the most because it's just visually appealing, and it has some of my favorite parts in it that are character related, but also the kind of thing that gives you carpal tunnel. No, I'm kidding. But I'm not kidding. Because I'm a man of culture and pride. That being said, the part in it, it's focused around like that race of people letting humans and certain other characters into a festival that's going on, or at least a ritual that's being performed, and a way of making them at peace. They take two characters and they dress them up in certain ways, and they leave them by each other to commemorate their unity amongst the people, which is just a fancy way of saying everybody getting dick tonight. And the way that it's written is there's a lot of in-character writing. Certain people don't say things that you wouldn't expect the characters to say, and every time a word is said, it's done in a font or a style that will show off their emotions to a point. Like in a lot of comics, you'll see things where it's like just normal comics. Pick up anything you got from DC, Marvel, Image, or Black or Dark Horse, whatever you want. And a lot of the times, the bubbles will be very similar. Like the voices or the bubbles themselves won't change, unless it's like trying to get between a different character, in which case the color may change, or the outline of the bubble will change, or maybe there's a symbol in it that indicates certain characters. Now, what this one does is there's a lot of focus on like how the characters are speaking to each other. And a lot of the times there'll be clear movement in what's happening. They'll focus on like how something is being shown, while the background itself will move accordingly to everything. Which I know doesn't sound like a big deal, but if you go through a lot of these online NSFW comics, the background is often very static. Like, you almost never see it change in any meaningful way. Now these ones, there's always a little bit different in the background. I swear to Christ. I know you don't want to hear it, but there's this thing where it's like, if something's bugging my ear, and I go to like make it stop or like irritate it a little bit, my eyes will start to water, and when you're wearing goggles, shit piles up and you can't exactly get it out without fucking up the recording. Now, the line work on these is very... It's based on... The line work for the characters themselves is more based on the color of the characters and the darker outlines that show that there's clear borders in between each other. The best way that I can compare it is like a more muted version of No Game, No Life. If any of you have seen that, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Where there's not exactly a black pencil outlining the certain characters, it's more like the actual item in question. Like, hair will never have like a dark outline around it, or at least I'd never noticed one. And it'll just be the strands of hair that actually show off the character. If you see, I don't know, it's NSFW, so sweat on boobs or jizz on a dick. It'll be like the thing itself that it's showing, which will have a clear border around it, using the color itself. It's brilliantly painted, and the colors themselves... Well, painted is a weird word, because I don't know how you would. The coloring of the entire thing is amazing. Shadows work perfectly. The characters have cartoony expressions when over-exaggerating, but they never 100% stick to mostly human... Mostly... it's a weird thing to change. It's a weird thing to, like, say, but I would compare this a little bit to the way that Disney characters are made. Disney characters are often made in a way that the main character, or at least the main focus of the scene itself, will have very limited motion in the way that their face can be portrayed. They're not just going to start like, oh, the eyes will start like, ooh, 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 like they're balloons that are constantly being like wobbled back and forth in different ways. They'll actually have some stability. Their mouth won't move insanely high. They won't have a big Joker's grin. And it'll just be like a normal way of reacting, which focuses a lot on characters unless there's an accurate portrayal, of something that goes over the top. Like a character says something, a character reacts angrily, and a character then the first character then reacts. Above that, their face will be a little bit more cartoony. Their mouth will open up a little bit wider. But just goddamn, I would seriously recommend reading it. Reading what this artist does. The artist's name is Incase. You can find them on a lot of different sites that have all these different webcomic sort of things. I personally go to luscious.net. It's very user-friendly. There's a large selection, and it's just overall a lot of fun to go through. A lot of their stories usually have like a little bit of an uplifting thing to it. But if you're there for just like, and then leave, then they have a lot of stuff that's beneath 20 pages you'll be able to get through. But if like you want to see the best of what they can do and the best of everything that they've seen, Alfie. Please read Alfie. If you haven't, goddamn, it's amazing. And I hate saying like stuff is legitimately amazing with good plot, characters, and gripping story, and then having to tell people like, no, it's been done by this artist. I looked that artist up and they do porn. Warren, you look past that. Look past that. The sex is there for a reason. It's to show character strengthening between certain characters or an emotional struggle between them you'll be able to read their actions. Trust me, it's for a reason. They're only under porn because sex actually plays a role in the way the characters are made. Hey, nope, it's gross, man. I'm not going to be able to do it. Never going to read. Fuck! Well, that's been a little bit of a rant from me, so let's go ahead and end this off on a bright note. Shit's going down, and you're supposed to stay indoors, so have a nice day, everybody. Make sure you wash your hands or I'll break the fuck off. I'll do it. Swear to God. Have a nice day. I've been the Red Sun, and I'm going to start setting because I have money to make tomorrow. I don't know. Bye, guys.